Happy Wednesday, baby. We're back. I'm back on the show, so me and Coop can dive into everything we need to dive into here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank y'all for pulling up. I'm your host, Jay. That's Coop. Thank y'all pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet. Like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So we've got ourselves a nice, fun episode today with me and Coop. We're going to dive into a few little things like EA Sports dropped some ratings that we all need to get excited about. We just added another coach, and I'm not going to lie, this new coach kind of got your boy a little excited too. We're going to talk watchability scores as well as dive into... is the OU Michigan game in jeopardy? It's a curveball for you, Coop. So hit us up on the Unfair Fan Line, 430-901-1906. Let us know what you think of the show. You can give us your strongest opinions, and I like hearing all of y'all's voices, so y'all can always call me here, 430-901-1906. Coop!
What's up, baby?
Good, man. Y'all had a good show on Sunday, man. I'm proud of you.
Hey, always enjoy, just hanging out with the guys. And Jake is just fire, and PG, folks love PG also. So, yeah. Great,
folks hate PG for some weird reason, dog. We all love PG. PG's my favorite people, man. Y'all gotta leave PG alone. Stop being mean to PG.
So, if you watch the end of the Sunday show and you wonder, that ended really abruptly and kind of awkwardly. So, my wife and Jay were in on with some of my boys to grab me and take me to the Irish pub before I had to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning on an airplane. So if you're watching it, you're like, that's really awkward. I didn't know about it, obviously, and so everybody walks up, bangs on the door, and so I didn't have any idea. So it was beautiful though. But yeah, Jay, I got to go to the land of South Carolina, and I made some new friends, and they're watching the show tonight with us. And so, we ran a big contest for work, and I got to hand away a $100,000 check to a family, and and so they're watching tonight. So Skip, my man, he is 1 in a million. He won the $100,000. It was sponsored by Still. And his lovely wife Elizabeth is watching too, and she got to find out that I talk for a living because she sat next to me at dinner. And then I got to make a good friend because they showed me some pictures. They're big Clemson fans, and one of the boys, Grayson, had a picture with Brent Venables' son, and so they loved BV. And so Mills, Grayson, Skip, Elizabeth, thanks for tuning in. I'm so happy that that I could do something cool for that. So they're skipping the comments. I love it. So, but yeah, other than that, man, I'm ready to talk some fun because it's that July content, and it's always fun to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's list season, right? We talk about this going from, it usually hits you right after spring ball. That's when everybody in the portal closes. That's when everybody starts to figure out, okay, what team is what players they added, this, that, and the other, and all those conversations begin. And so for me, I'm like, all right, we got to figure out a way to make this like entertaining and fun in some capacity, right? That's where the struggle comes in. But we got some fun stuff. And I got another topic. So we'll run this down real quick. And for me, y'all know I took some time off for the 4th. My birthday is on Sunday, which is always funny. I'm exactly 1 week after Coop as far as birthdays go. He's the 7th. I'm the 14th. And so I took some time away for my birthday because next week, after as y'all know, I joined Locked On Sooners. That got me a credential to SEC Media Days. So I'm going to be down there at SEC Media Days. I'll be there Tuesday when Venables is up there. Hopefully I'm selected to ask a question to some of the players. I do plan on going live on Wednesday night. I actually plan on probably coming back on. I was going to stay the whole week, but I'm probably going to come back on Wednesday so I can be quote unquote productive at work. But we'll probably go live when I get back in town and make all that happen. So pretty excited about SEC Media Day and all of that. But there's a few things to jump into. So the first topic I want to jump into before we get into all the meat and potatoes of more lists, Paul Finebaum said something recently that, your boy kind of was like, oh, word? He he likes us a lot. So if you checked us out on Locked On Sooners, we talked about it there pretty in depth. And I'm going to pull this up real quick because I think it's two topics that's really jumped out. Let me grab it real quick and give y'all the exact quote. So yeah, this is what Paul Finebaum said about Oklahoma. Now, brace yourself. Finebaum, is known for being an SEC homer. It's very intriguing and it's a very endearing feature about him, and I appreciate him for it. But this is what he said. Talked about Oklahoma coming forward, right? He said they took a bump and a hit after Lincoln Riley left. They had to reprogram the entire place, reboot it from a vibe standpoint. I think this year, if they can land somewhere between 8-4 and 9-3, they'll be okay, considering their schedule, because everybody's only downgrading our chances of winning 10 games is because of our schedule. But Finebaum said, but I don't have any doubt Oklahoma is clearly on the way back. And he raved about Brent Venables and the way the staff is constructed, the culture change, just the vibe and feeling difference. And so, Coop, when you hear that, does that get you excited about Oklahoma going forward? Like hearing that someone that's been in the SEC in the industry 20, 30, 40 years of doing this saying, oh no, Oklahoma should be good.
He has done a lot of stuff in the past where, he says stuff to kind of get people riled up. But this is starting to become a recurring theme with a lot of these more national people because they're starting to kind of look at the proof, right? You got to have proof of concept. And Oklahoma has always been good, whether it was the Big 8, the Big 12, so expecting that Brent Venables, who has played in the big boy league, as the defensive coordinator at Clemson, you can't, you look at the staff and how he's putting these things together, how he's built the culture. He was crazy for doing if you commit, no more visits. Everybody was, kind of crazy about that a few years ago. And now, you don't see 5, 6, 7, 8 people who are, who are leaving the class like, somebody out west. Sorry, Trojan Fight. Love you, brother. But, these guys are staying on. And so I talked about it on Sunday night is, if you are going to remodel a house, it's easier if you just gut the whole thing and you got to go through a little bit of growing pains and building pains right there. But it makes it so much easier rather than shifting things around and it just takes a little bit longer. So, Finebaum's starting to come around. People are starting to look and going, hold on a second. Why are we so excited about Texas after a finally a successful season when OU has been dragging them for the past 15 years? And so it's not just Finebaum. A lot more folks. There's still some that are a little crazy out there. But just to think that OU is going to show up in the SEC and struggle to win 7 games. You're just not looking at facts. It's your pure emotions and you're just crazy takes. So don't buy into that stuff because BV has done a great job putting this together. Great recruiting classes and et cetera.
Well, me, I try to I maintain my pureness when it comes to just the sport and enjoying it. And I see where the Texas hype does show, and it's outside of the 12-2 season last year. But just the fact that they're bringing back their entire offensive line and their quarterback, right? This is a 3 years for Sark with his quarterback. That's why I'm so bullish. Also, if you've watched any of my videos over the last couple of weeks, why I'm so heavily bullish on Oklahoma going forward is the exact same reason. We're now the 3rd year in Brent Venables' implementation of this defense. And traditionally, he goes up. And that's the one thing I can give a shout out to the Texas guys, with Nino and Steven over there at Fan Perspective, right? Fanatic Perspective. They both said, OU's defense is going to be legit this year because we know Venables, this is what he does. And they both completely admitted to it straight up. Like, y'all defense is going to be legit when I was talking about the 5. And they actually, most of them included Oklahoma in their 5 teams in the SEC they feel like has a chance to actually win the title. The pushback that everybody gives is the exact same thing. It's our November schedule is brutal, right? We travel to Missouri, who should be good. They have no excuse not to be good, but they could be good, right? Luckily, Maine's in there, but then you have Bama coming to the crib and you travel to Death Valley to end the season. And that's where everybody's like, hey, man, those ebbs and flows there's a lot to stomach at that moment, right? Luckily, we got the bye week before we play, Texas. We kind of get a primer with South Carolina before we play Ole Miss, right? So I get it. I get the Texas piece as I really dissect it deeply. But now I'm starting to get why a lot of people, and this is what I'm hearing a lot now, they're all calling Oklahoma their sleeper, right, Coop? Like they're saying, Oklahoma's a sleeper. We got to stop sleeping on what they're doing. We got to stop sleeping on 86% returning production on the defensive side of the ball. You got to stop sleeping on that stuff because that's the thing that's going to help the trajectory of what Oklahoma is trying to do. So I'm excited about that part. But I love seeing that Finebaum came around and pointed out that, hey, guys, Oklahoma's still Oklahoma. We got to stop pretending like they're not. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe if you're listening. Rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Give us 5 anyway. Gifted. Coop, before we get into this good news around this coach that we just added that probably should get a couple of y'all excited.
Yeah.
I want to talk about schedule. So as we all know, 2025, Oklahoma is expected to play against Michigan, right? So when I go to the OU's future schedule, let me pull up their future schedule really quickly just so I can be as accurate as possible. We're going to go 2025. It's supposed to be Illinois State, Michigan, Temple, and then Kent State would be the games, right? But then you go into 2026. That's when you got UTEP, Michigan, and the Lobos. So New Mexico, that is. Well, if you didn't see it today, there was an announcement made that UCLA and Georgia have canceled their home and home series, which was supposed to begin next year. So them canceling their home and home has everybody asking the question, is the SEC going to 9 conference games? Because if they are, it makes sense to cancel that UCLA game because you're going to add an additional tough team in conference.
Yep.
We've been anticipating that happening in 26, which is why Oklahoma, if that does happen, there's a chance Oklahoma will cancel the Michigan game because if they move to that, it will be tough to move the Michigan game around, and it would force Oklahoma to not be able to fulfill the contract from going home and home. That's really where that lies. Because we've got 4 teams next year, and then we've got only 3 going forward because of that. So, Coop, you think that there's a chance that they're going to cancel this?
Yeah, and I think that you kind of have to look at a couple different things. There's also, starting to be the conference realignment questions starting to come on. So, hearing some stuff with Florida State and Clemson, with stuff about the Big 12. We just are in this perpetual movement, and I don't think that anything's going to stop the 2 super conferences. It's getting closer and closer, but if this just solely is going to 9 SEC games, you don't really need it because you get great revenue. And so if Georgia's the first one, to pull out and maybe you say, listen, this is where we're going. Maybe it's something that, programs have started hearing from Sankey and the rest of the folks at the SEC. So, let's see. I would love to play, Sharon Moore and the Wolverines here in a couple years, but these with the 12-team playoff, you can deal with the regular season a little bit better, and then you get more of these great matchups in the first and second round of the playoff. So, I just to plan anywhere past this year at this point in time, it seems just like a tough pill to swallow. And so, and at least Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, people in the SEC, we kind of know what we're going to be dealing with. You still have everybody in the ACC, everybody in the Big 12, and then the 2 folks out there in the West still that are, how do you feel super confident about what the future holds for those places? Because that the SEC and the Big 10 are running laps right now. And you can't let them continue and get that far out, especially when the TV revenue, these stations are going to grasp and cling to all of the TV revenue that they can do because live sports still is the strongest, is the absolute strongest pull on national television.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the two conferences that everybody care the most about. So it's the two conferences everybody's watching. And so if this is the situation where we're seeing that the mega conferences are going to hit, the question is the ACC the one that's going to go down? Or will the ACC start, if Florida State and Clemson, this is the rumor, Heartland College Football put out an article that there's rumors that the Big 12 and Florida State, Clemson are in negotiations, potentially pull them into the conference. I asked the question, does the ACC try to replace them with like UCF? Do they go after West Virginia? The schools that are like close to the ACC that are actually in ACC territory. Like, do they try to, replace them with those, which makes sense, right? I'm curious to would they do that to try to salvage themselves. They're losing massive markets, but another thing they can do, they can go up Texas A&M, right? You can get Texas A&M wants out. They've been wanting out. They hate the fact that Texas is back. And so next to them, right, they got to play Texas. They don't want to play Texas. So they trying to find a way to get up out. So that's probably one that you could do, right? But it's kind of it's fascinating just seeing how this is all going to lay out. But we've got time, right? We've got probably another year as the lawsuits are still piling up and going between Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and the ACC itself.
Yeah.
We're going to, it's going to be a extremely, extremely interesting go on that. So, all right. Last thoughts on that, Coop, as far as schedule-wise. If we replace Michigan, who do you want us to take next season? Because if we do it, next season will be the game that will be replaced unless we kick the 2026 game out to 2027 and Michigan has space. Technically, you could do that if they want to. I would, but what do you think?
You got the frozen on, Jay. So somebody's screenshotting you right now. But I'm going to say it. I think you go first to Oklahoma State and you say, hey, let's get this back going. And then maybe, you go a Texas Tech or, I don't know, to the trajectory of Baylor right now doesn't look super. So, maybe you can rekindle an old Big 12 foe, in the 25 or 26. I see Hank says Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a bad call too. So, something like that. But, maybe from a strategic and a recruiting standpoint, we've been pulling some folks from, the Dakotas here recently and a lot of people up from like the New England area. So maybe you go after like a Syracuse. Maybe you play somebody from up there. We played Syracuse when Donovan McNabb was in the house. And so, he came to, Norman and put it down on the Sooners. I believe it was 97 or 98. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but that's a recruiting ground that we continue to do pretty well on. So, maybe you pull Boston College, somebody up there. But if it's just to get better TV ratings, maybe an old-time Big 12 foe. If it is for recruiting purposes, maybe you go like I was saying up there.
Well, the problem you run into with that is Oklahoma State doesn't have any games available either. They'd have to buy somebody out to do it, and they're not going to do that, right? The closest game that Oklahoma State has, I think, is like 10 years down the line. And so we could potentially, rekindle that. 2029 is the soonest they'd be able to add, but they actually travel to Alabama that year, so they're definitely not playing us.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be 2030 would be the soonest. But I did look at Michigan, right? Michigan's schedule, the way that this is set up here, Michigan has Texas down the line. So probably
Jay, you're frozen again, buddy. So I would say this is you're looking at these schedules, and when you see some of the schedule, again, like I say, it's I don't know if you actually make a play to make a change right yet. You start having those conversations. I don't know. Maybe that athletic department can get Sam Presti on it and come up with some stuff because that guy's a robot. But it is going to have to be something along the lines of, like I said, either what's going to drive the ratings? What's something that we want to see there? Is it going to be, could you go after a Baylor or could you go after somebody else? So if you guys, hop in the comments, appreciate everybody pulling up. And again, just, Jay is, he's not anywhere where he should be having any crazy internet controls. I think he's going to have to mobile hotspot.
My ISP is Cox Communications. Y'all know that. Y'all know they give me hell, right? I complain about them like literally every single day.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's funny because I hear you talking the entire time, but I can't see me. But
yeah,
we're back. We're back at this point. No, I was saying that Michigan has Texas, and then let me see. Michigan is sitting here. They kicked Texas out of the can to 27. So they play Texas this year, and then 27 is the return game to Texas. Technically, we could go to 28. 2028 so far. They don't have anything on their schedule, so we could possibly do the can kicking at that point. I don't think that's a bad idea. Is it a bad idea?
It's not a bad idea. I mean, if you can get that game set up, you get the game set up. And this is not brought to you by Cox Communications. They don't have the little robots ain't working in your house. So so yeah, guys, if you're watching and you're seeing, you're good right now, Jay. But if you're watching, you're seeing and it breaks out, I'll try to kind of move on as Jay's Etch-a-Sketch graphics come back into play. So you're good now, though.
I hate it. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic, man. Thank y'all for pulling up. Y'all know the routine. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, and all of that. Also, shout out Coach Dent. I know you should be in the comments somewhere or whatnot. Lil Zay, he shot me a t-shirt for Isaiah. Autry Dent, one of his shirts. You've seen I posted on social media, so pretty excited about this. He shot me a shirt to show off. So
yeah, and
as I freeze.
Speaking of gifts, Bishop, hey man, thanks. Bishop Frank just hooked up Trojan, and I saw a couple Lester and a couple of others. Bishop is just always trying to come in here and help us grow the channel. So Bishop, appreciate that, brother.
Appreciate that, my man. Appreciate that as usual. All right, Coop. EA Sports dropped their rankings today, right? So we've got college football. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about that last. Let's wrap up with that. I want to talk about the latest addition to the coaching staff. So former Oklahoma defensive back Jeremiah Cradell returns randomly. I'm going to be honest, randomly. So Cradell was a 2019, recruit.
Yeah.
Was at Mater Dei out in Santa Ana, California, corner, safety, and he had to medically retire due to concussions.
Yeah.
Right. After the medical retirement, he transitioned into coaching, was student assistant, did all of that stuff. He left and went to USF with LD Washington, the former wide receiver coach. He followed him out there, took a role there last season. Then he went to Lebby's staff at Mississippi State most recently. But then, out of shock, Parker Thune reports that he's here now. He's back with Oklahoma. He's on the coaching staff at Oklahoma. So Coop, seeing that, bringing him back because he picked Oklahoma over Oregon, and like everybody was crystal balling him to Oregon, and he picked Oklahoma instead underneath Grinch. How you feel about this return? Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty excited to see former players come back and coach. He worked under Venables before he took that job at USF, and so he's understanding what the system is. How you feel about this hire?
It's great, and it's about the family. You saw him coming back, and then kind of this right along the family line. Rest in peace, Demario Pleasant. Demario passed away, unexpectedly, and man, it's cool to see the past players all rally, on the bird and, just, give the love. And, I hate seeing stuff like that, but it is what Venables is trying to bring back to to Norman, is that absolute, just unbreakable family environment, not just with the fans and the players, but players to players, previous players. And you got to respect, where you came from and the people that put the, and when you watch the intro videos at Oklahoma, it's always been the same thing. It's, Bob Stoops saying out that no one player is bigger than the program, and, just the Oklahoma dynasty, and, the Selman brothers. And so, I love seeing Cradell back in, because he's a guy who is invested. He spent a lot of his time here, and he did need to go out, and he needed to go do new things. And sometimes, Jay, we see like Josh Heupel, that, it's not always the best feelings when you leave. But I mean, eventually you've got so many family connections with these ex-players and everything. And so I'm excited to see Jeremiah Cradell back, because again, it's another younger guy that can get out there and help with the unlimited everything that is just, college football. There's just no more, limits on pretty much anything at this point. But, so if you can bring in staff that can work with defensive backs and can learn right besides Jay Valai, what happens is you also, start developing the future of your coaching staff, because as cool as this coaching staff is, and you love Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, we say the props to EJ, Brandon Hall. Mm-hmm. Some of them are going to eventually leave. And so who do you bring in? Do you either want to home grow these coaches and these grad assistants, or do you just always have to hope that you can go out and get somebody else and bring them in the program and hope that it fits in? Well, if you just, you raise them. And, one of my old coaches said, people do what they're coached to do or what they're allowed to do. And I think if you just allow your program to everybody to do their own thing at their own position, it's hard to kind of know where everybody's at. So if they're all coaching the same way that Brent Venables is doing, then you know what you got. And so it's great, because I'd like to see him come in, get his flowers, do some good work here. And if he needs to move on and, go, stretch him out in potentially like a DB, coach role, or, as assistant defensive coordinator somewhere else, it just helps that, Brent Venables, that Oklahoma coaching tree. So I'm all for bringing guys back.
That's my favorite part. And you mentioned this earlier, is we're bringing that family environment back, right? You're getting the old people. When we had the day, you had all those Heisman Trophy winners in town just hanging out. They had that panel recently with like Tommy Harris, Gerald McCoy, and
Roy Williams.
Lehman. Right, Roy Williams, all those people coming back. Man, we missed that, right? That was a huge part of Oklahoma before the last regime took over and bounced. We loved embracing the older players and coming to talk. It's funny, I actually saw Jay Woolard, Caden's pops was, on the Bird earlier today, and Gerald McCoy was talking to him about Caden. He said he watched him, gave some suggestions about what he needs to do, but then he said he'll be in town to work with him soon. Dude, that's huge. You got Gerald McCoy, NFL Pro Bowler, right? First round pick, coming through saying, no, I like his style. I got some things I need to work on him with, and he's going to come and work with them on it.
Yeah, potentially
he's get that everywhere.
He's going to probably be in the Tampa Bay Ring of Honor. Like, he is going to be one of the folks. Like, you see it down in the Cowboys, and when you see guys like that and their names are up in those stadiums. Think of how many players play in these stadiums. So Gerald McCoy, Tommy Harris, some of those roots. Teddy Lehman, Rocky Kalmus. All these cats. We watched Trent Williams and Lane Johnson, and it's so cool because you're seeing these characters. Like Lane Johnson is on the, was he with Kelsey in WWE a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
And, and now he's still in the league, so he did a little less than Kelsey did. But, these are cool things to really do that, because he was talking about Max Crosby, and I saw that what you were talking about is, he said, he tries to model his game after Max Crosby, Woolard does, and just without the tats. And so for Gerald McCoy to be like, hey, listen, I feel comfortable enough to really, just reach out and just offer my advice, because hey, Geraldini, he's going places here soon, because he's got so many irons in the fire, and so for that guy to take his time, man, that's special.
Yeah, I love seeing it. He always wants to reach back out to the players and everything. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to come on the show with me. He kind of ripped me up a few times or whatnot. It's okay. One day I'm gonna get Gerald McCoy on here and I'm gonna tell him like, dog, you didn't have to be that mean to me, dog. I was trying to just talk football, which actually the reason why I want Gerald McCoy on here is I want him to talk about some of the players we have and what does he see as far as skill sets, right? I want to get into the nerdy nuance stuff of football. That's my thing, right? The stuff that makes me sit here and my eyes get glossed over, like, I don't know what the heck he's talking about, but I love it, right? Yeah. I absorb that like a sponge, but he kind of ripped me up like 3 or 4 ways. Actually, it's funny because the tweet popped up it was a year ago that I tweeted at him.
Right before the season.
It was right. No, it was like the 3rd or 4th of July or something like that or whatnot, but it was that day, and I saw it popped up on my feed when I was looking at something. I was like, oh, hey, that was a year ago that Gerald McCoy told me to go F myself. That's hilarious. In a nice way. One day, if I see him at one of these media days, I'm gonna run up on him and be like, hey, bro, you didn't have to be so mean to me in public. Be mean to me in private. But we're gonna work on it. One of these days we'll get him on here. I know he's been doing some live stuff, as he's been doing a little content himself or whatnot. So we'll figure it out. All right, man. Thank y'all for pulling up again. Hit the like button if you the channel, subscribe, hop in the comments. I do expect to see a lot of folks down there at SC Media Days. Look, Sooner in Texas, don't be rubbing it in my face. Don't rub it in my face. Yes, I know Teddy and them did. Yeah, they all were former players, so they love each other, right? They hate, people like me, so I don't win. But besides that, EA Sports ratings, right? There's a couple of things we can talk about and take this into multiple different directions. You got the EA Sports ratings that came out, and I saw it, top 100 players, and I was a little intrigued. Let me pop this up because I think it's one that, a few of us, we've got our questions on. Let's pull this up. We're going to share this beautiful screen. But Coop, we had 2 guys that made it in the top 100. Just 2. Kind of feels like that was the level of disrespect we were going to get, but, whatever. Opening preview. That's what I wanted. There we go. When you saw that come across, tell me, what did you think?
I mean, does it mean a damn thing? I don't think so. Listen, we all are going to buy the game, but EA Sports, they are taking full advantage of same thing that Josh Pate does, the same thing that Paul Finebaum does, anybody goes out and puts something out there. It's just to try to get more, more eyeballs, which is crazy because I don't think. And I think I might be stealing this from Teddy because Teddy kind of went off on his show from Monday.
Yeah.
But it just absolutely makes me die laughing just because it's like EA Sports, like, you guys, you're done. Like, right? Like, what hype can you draw and drive at this point? Like, nobody's forgot about this. Grown folks are like taking days off and stuff like that. And even like the Arch Manning thing, like, dude wasn't in the game. Like, how many more people are going to buy this game now because Arch Manning's now part of the game? Like, was there anybody who was like, I'm really on the fence? Oh, Arch is it? Yeah, I'm buying it. Download right now. So, and full disclosure.
Hey, man, I'm lying. I wasn't. But it sounded good.
I've got my, I still haven't, bought a copy of the game. And just because I'll probably wait until the night of or something like that. Because I expect that EA server to go on the struggle bus. I know what Sooner Scoop looks like, during like commitment day a couple of years ago, and Carrie Carrie has that thing, master wired. But like, I just I'm excited to play the game, but to be honest, like I don't have a lot of bandwidth where I'm going to be able to put more than maybe an hour or so a week into it. But these ratings coming up it's pretty funny just because. Who's the top? Is a defensive back out of Tennessee, or who was the top rated player? It was like a 96. Ollie Gordon was
Yeah,
96.
Ollie Gordon was up there. You had let me pull it up real quick. You had
I think
Ollie Gordon. You had Will Johnson was your number one at
there we
96
go.
with Will Campbell. Will Johnson is the corner at Michigan.
Okay.
Will Campbell. Hold a second. Let me just put this full screen so y'all can see it because it makes more sense for everybody to take a
Yeah,
look at this.
and like I think I saw Quinshon Judkins was like one slot lower than Ollie Gordon, and I mean I don't know. It's everybody's going to go play the game. You see it and you see it with Madden. All the people are going. I feel disrespected that I'm not higher on it. Like, listen, if that guy's a 96 and you're a crap player, that guy's going to be a crap player too. Like it just is what it is, and everybody's going to recruit. And if you're really a crazy person about this, you're going to be on season 2 recruiting 5 stars and doing all that stuff and have new players anyway. And so,
Right.
so let's just be honest. Like I like seeing, because you look through here, like Will Campbell, we're gonna play him. James Pierce, we're gonna play him. Travis Hunter being at number 6, no comment. Let's see here.
I agree with it personally. That dude's a monster, but I get you.
He's great, but I mean, I don't know. I've just never seen more hype over 4 wins in my life than I see with Colorado. But I digress.
I'm kind of surprised Quinshon Judkins is number 9 though. He feels a little high.
I mean, he showed out last year, and now he's going to go up there and
You got what?
lemon comment.
Right, yeah. I'll say you got these 2 Ohio State guys. One of them came from Ole Miss. The other one came from, Alabama, in which we knew Caleb Downs was going to be that high. That's just the expectation. But yeah, right. So, but no, it's I like that there's 0 people that are 99s. I kind of wish they would have went like old school and went like lower than that, because like I'm from the era of was it NBA Live 95 or whatever. They had like Michael Jordan. You had to put in a special code to get him in the game, and his rating was like 88. He was the highest person in the game, right? It made the game a little bit more of a challenge. It was a fascinating concept. I was like, that's weird, but
it's not Tecmo Bowl with Bo Jackson, where you can't. I mean, as long as you have Bo Jackson, you just
weaved.
Yeah.
You just weave back and forth and go. You're going to win it.
Yeah.
Bo was a beast. But yeah, Pierce. But when I saw this, I think this what made it interesting for me the most, outside of the fact that we had 2 guys rated. I mean, let me see. Bowman is a 90, and Stutzman was a 91. So we got 2 dudes that are ranked in 90 plus. Can't complain about that. And the rest of the team just need to prove themselves. But we get to see, like you said, we got Will Campbell. We get to see against him on the offensive line there at LSU. We'll see James Pierce Jr., who is a top 3 draft pick in the NFL. Everybody raves about him. We'll see him also. But in the top 10, that's all we get to see. In the top 100, oh boy. I understand why everybody is all over us as far as our schedule and how hard it is. We see a lot of these top-ranked dudes. A lot. Like,
that's why we made the choice to come to the SEC. It was that these recruits want to play against the best, and that's the reason why Lincoln Riley could not get defensive recruits here. That's the reason why Brent Venables is having it easier, because he's a more defensive-minded guy, and we are now going into the SEC. We wanted to go up against the best because the thing has always been, well, you don't do this against SEC defenses. You're doing it against the Big 12. And I'll say, Big 12 has done a better job defensively just overall for the past maybe 2 years. But, most of that recency bias on the, Big 12 having crap defenses came from us showing up with prolific offenses and then a mess on the other side of the ball, and that's coaching. And because I don't want to take shots at previous players, like that was coaching. Why do I say it was coaching? Because Danny Stutzman looked lost at times. He was making comments about wondering why it was a big deal that he lined up in the right spot. Now he's on the Walter Camp first team preseason. as the first team linebacker. So now people are going to start respecting the defense side, and that's where the respect for OU is starting to climb. Is they're like, hold on a second. Wait, you're really good on the. Okay, so you got DeJoun Terry and Dominic Williams up front. Okay, you got Danny Stutzman and then whoever in the middle, and then you got Bowman and RSJ and Bowen and back oh geez, and then people are still saying our defensive backs just overall are one of the most scary things about the team. So it's we wanted to be here.
Yeah, I think one thing I really love too seeing is that Billy Bowman walks in here with a 90-something in awareness. You got Danny Stutzman with a 97 in awareness. Yeah, our defense is going to be really good next season, y'all. I've tried. I not tempering expectations on that. The expectation is this defense to look like what an SEC defense looks like, right? On top of that, I talked about it in the video. When Phil Steele does his efficiency rating, he put Oklahoma at 7 from last season, whereas the NCAA had them in the teens, right? And what he pointed out is his curve is based upon the quarterback you go against, and the Big 12 quarterbacks were a lot better than most, played against a lot of good talent, and the one thing we did very good at is that we didn't give up touchdowns, right?
Yeah, that's
massive in what you do. If you're giving up, you're not giving up touchdowns like that. Yeah, it's huge for what Oklahoma is building and doing. So long term, we've got it, right? Lemon, that's a good question. I don't know. They didn't show Gentry. They only show the top 100, and the expectation is the rest of it's going to start coming down the line in the next couple of weeks or whatnot. So. Well, the game comes out on Monday, so that's at least the early one.
5 days away, right?
Yeah, it's 5 days away technically. If you pre-order it now, you can get early access. I think you can still pre-order and get early access. The game comes out on 19th, but 3-day access or whatever is Monday or something like that. And I'm high-key disappointed. I don't even want to say this out loud, but I have to say it out loud now. I got an invite, Coop, that I couldn't go through with. Kind of hurt my feelings. I'm a little sad. So I got hit up by Bleacher Report to come out for the live stream in New York for this game on Monday. And be one of the creators out there to hang out. Monday starts SEC Media Days. So it's dang, bro. Why couldn't we do this on the day of launch, right? I could have flew out Friday, right? That'd been perfect.
Yeah.
So hurt, man. Hurt. So we'll hopefully one day I'll be able to be a part of something that big. But that was a huge offer. I was excited, and unfortunately couldn't do it.
I just want to get my invites like Jay when I grow up. So
you gonna get there? Don't worry. People are seeing you, recognizing you, and you are starting to pop up, my boy. That's the one thing I ain't concerned about. You are popping up and populating everywhere, so that's a good thing. And you keep doing what you're doing. Heck, we know that stuff's been placed in your lap for the future, so we're excited about that, man. But yeah, I was a little hard. I was dang, man, could I make this work? But it makes a lot more sense to go rub some elbows and get to know people down there at Media Day. Being it's the first one, it doesn't look right for me to just show up late and all of that jazz. Even though only session I'm probably going to go to is the Tuesday one anyway. Show up and go see OU, go see Venables, ask my one question, see if I can. But yeah, it was no limit. You pre-order so that you can get the game 3 days early. But I don't know if they're still doing that. I'm not sure. But yeah. I can't miss the first media day. You're right, Steve. Yeah. That was the point I said. I can't miss the first media day.
You got to be the first one. Also, you have to get my man. You have to get my man Grayson something from BV. So if you can make it happen, I told him I was going to send him a BV shirt. But no, that's the cool thing is, as long as Kiffin don't do the old fake hello on the phone thing to you like he did Stoya. But yeah, that's going to be. Listen. The Big 12 Media Days, the hype around the Big 12 Media Days was this much. But last year, and everybody get your can ready, last year is where we had competitive depth come to life, right? And so now this year, we got to go to complementary football. That's got to be the thing that we got to play because, you're starting to hear people saying like they could have a top 3 or 5 defense in the SEC. And then this offensive line is coming together. And so for all the people who are really, really Norman broke my system. Oh,
his dog, the doggy, the puppy love.
Really confused.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Jason. I'm praying for you, brother. That hurts.
I got a PS2 I can send you.
Yeah.
You have to blow in the deal every once in a while to get it, but whatever.
What up, Coach I? What's going on? Appreciate it, man. Thanks for pulling up. But yeah, it's I know that I don't have the time. I'm not gonna have the time to play like I want. I know it. I mean, that's something that's my expectation. It's doing this, making content, trying to keep the content rolling, and paying attention to the season. It's gonna be tough. I got mine pre-ordered. I plan on getting heavy in it in February, right? When the season's over, that's when I'm going to be hardcore. I probably won't drop a video in February unless it's around someone committing just so I could game out, right? Heck, may even do some live streams. Y'all can watch me recruit if y'all feel bored enough. But no, it's going to be this season, and I talked about this on Locked On Sooners as we wrap things up here. Talked about this on today's episode. This is going to be a really fun season, Coop, right? Like the level of fun we're going to see this season is absurd. And so Kelly Ford dropped his watchability rankings on his highest rated watchability, and it's based upon the spreads he creates and his ratings for the team. But the thing about this is that everything he's saying, it's not wrong, right? When you look at it, it 100% makes sense, right? And so Oklahoma has 7 games on here. Cool. We got 7 games within the top 30 on the list. It's pretty darn high, right? Like, is there an argument that could be not that's high, right? Yeah. And so when I looked at this, I'm like, man, this is going to be a fun season. Like, just in general, this is going to be the most fun Sooner fans have probably had since 2000. Not because of winning, just because it's fun. When you see this, the watchability, how excited are you getting about this, man?
Here's why. And again, I'm going to steal a thought that, we've talked about several times is there's so much change in the SEC. There's so many, like the established coaches are, what is it? There, you know how many coaches have won an SEC championship game?
That's currently there in the SEC today? Kirby Smart, is it?
One.
Actually, has Kirby won one? He has won one.
Yeah, he won. Was it 2 years ago when they beat Alabama? Yeah, so
which is funny to me because, and I say that real quick before you continue, is because he's played in 3 and he's only won 1, but he's won 2 national championships. Yeah. It's just the funniest thing in the world. But continue.
It's the anti-Oklahoma, but yeah, I mean, you've got that, and then outside of also maybe Kirby Smart, like there's not a bunch of coaches that have been there for more than 3 or 4 years. You've got new systems coming in a lot of different places. And what that really means is, like, there's a lot of flipping that happens in the SEC from a coaching perspective. Mm-hmm. And so you saw Saban sit there for a decade plus, right? And Kirby Smart's gone over there and he's done a great job. But everywhere else, it's just rinse, wash, repeat. There's so many different coaches. And so that watchability, I think a lot of that is really cool because your Google search is on the screen, so be careful. Don't go to that stuff that you usually look at, their dessert show or whatever.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, again, with Georgia, Texas, why is that? the number one, right? But I also would say, like, why is OU Auburn on there? Somewhere in the middle of the pack. But this confirms that, like, the people are wanting to see these matchups. That's why we're here, is for these matchups. Because, and God bless every single one of them, but if you're watching in Florida and it's OU versus TCU, like, nobody cares. If it's OU versus Baylor, nobody cares. Nobody cares, outside of, in Kansas or Oklahoma at that point, or if your team's fighting against Oklahoma to be, top in the conference. So now, I mean, it's you got the Texas game, OU Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU. Like, there are stories upon stories upon stories outside of, once again, the Auburn one that I don't really understand that still. But I'm pretty excited to see these things. But yeah, I mean, people are going to want to see what can OU prove themselves. And then I think that a lot of people are also going to see, is Texas actually any good, or was last year just
fluke?
Like the exception? Because I mean, an 8-4 Texas is really the norm, and they haven't even been holding up that for the past couple of years. So I like to see, what does DeBoer in Alabama look like? Now that Georgia really is sitting as the king of the hill, does that pressure to keep getting better, does that actually push them? Can Lane Kiffin win one of these big games? Can Missouri, put together another magical season? I mean, with that schedule, they should be able to. And so, but I mean, Notre Dame, Florida State, there's two programs that, could be going in different directions. After this year, was Florida State just super, super lucky and everything came together last year? Or are they going to be good again? Have they changed? Have they turned the culture around? So it's college football is fun, and even though the NIL stuff and the transfer portal really has triggered a lot of people, this is why we watch college football right here. If you're, if I was still selling college football, and shout out to Amy Waters, my old boss, this makes her smile ear to ear, because it's ABC, ESPN for OU going forward, and there's not a fight between Fox and ESPN. So, I mean, this is candy, a kid in a candy store for college football fans.
No, it is 100%. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what we got here going, with the big games from, of course, Red River's always huge. And it's funny because, even saying it, like, looking at this watchability score, I think the thing that hurts the other rivalries that everybody gets excited about is that, both teams aren't really rated high right now by Kelly Ford. He doesn't have them rated high, so that's why you don't see Ohio State versus Michigan on here, right? You don't see Alabama versus Auburn on here. I mean, they're going to be watched heavily. They're going to get, and he says it himself, this doesn't mean that they won't see good ratings. These games will see good ratings, but the thing that gives these more watchability is more so about how the teams rank coming up against each other at the time they probably will play, right? By the time we play Texas, we both should be undefeated, knock on wood, barring injury and any tomfoolery. We should both be undefeated. And that's the thing that's going to make that entire game jump and be more exciting, right?
Hey, Jay, tell me about number 35. Like, do you feel like that one, one of these things are not like the other, or like Ole Miss and South Carolina? There's a couple on there that I'm like, NC State and Tennessee, like, really? Like,
I think it's by the time they face each other, they should be a decent matchup. But at the same time, you got to go through he's going through 40 games, right? Like,
yeah.
If you're talking top 20, yeah, you're probably stopping at 20, right? You're probably stopping at Clemson, Florida State. You're not looking at any other game besides that. But to fill up 40, you got to start going to games where you have questions about, wait, is this going to be even a decent game? Like, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of curious about this Missouri-Texas A&M game at number 23. That one right there
is that week. It's
going to tell us a lot about what how the season's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, again, is by the time that we play Missouri, we're going to have a pretty good idea of what they are. And I bet you
pretty much.
Missouri Twitter is going to be very, very quiet if they don't have a respectable record by that time. Because if they roll into A&M and they take it on the chin, because that's down in College Station, correct?
Yes, they travel down to College Station, yes, sir.
So down there, I mean, I was at the Torrance Marshall game, and that was the only time, like, You've been in an airplane when we travel a lot. So yesterday I was on today I was on a smaller plane from Charlotte to Tulsa, and you get that like super shaking, and you're like, nope, this is fine, everything's good. I've been here before, nothing is going to happen. That's what I felt like when in that A&M OU game back in 2000. Like it was so scary because that dadgum stadium shakes. I mean, it moves around. It looks like a tackle box, but it does move when they start doing their stuff.
Interesting. Well,
there's a lot of good games. A lot of good games.
Some of good games. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty stoked about this coming season. It's gonna be a fun one that we should all cherish, regardless of how well we do. And no, I think we expect us to do very well. It's gonna be fun because it's gonna be our first time in the SEC. We get to go to see all these big stadiums. We get to actually play in some big games, and we can really set the tone. If we go out there and show up and show out like the expectation is, especially if the defense carries us this year, there's a darn good chance that a lot of people that was negative ninnies in these chat in this comment section and negative comments gonna be looking back like, dang, Jay Coop was right. You're welcome. That's what we're gonna say right now. But let's wrap it up, put a bow on it. I'm gonna go ahead and find food. Your boy hungry. Gotta get ready to go record for tomorrow or whatnot. Coop, final words. What you got for the people?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about us as fans, and I've got, my request for Oklahoma fans is travel, right? You don't have to go to every away game, but these are new experiences, and it will be a big deal. So if you're looking, I mean, whether it is LSU, you don't even have to go to the game. We just want to show out, and then when folks come to the crib, like, guys, we've been showing the Texas Tech jump around game on Twitter all day, and we need that from the fans showing up. And we don't have the sleepy morning games to worry about or anything like that. Like, we're going to have the 2:30 games. You're going to be able to get there and get yourself a little lubed up. But we want to see you as fans, because I know that we're going to be at several of the games, Jay, and I want to see. So if you're one of the guys that says, hey, guy up in front, sit down, be better. Stand up, get loud. Bring something. I don't care. Bring a clapper, a cowbell, steal somebody's noisemaker. I don't care. You can just complain loudly about the person in front of you, but stand up and let's do it, because this defense is going to be good, but this defense can be great. And if we can make it a tough place to play, we're going to start seeing, Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium come up the list of places people don't want to go see, because of all those scary places to play, we didn't see Norman, and it's not. It really, we're not a scary place to play currently. So that's something that we need to do better as fans.
I somewhat only disagree, because we still got a pretty darn good record at the crib now. But you're right, we're not loud enough. We need to start busting eardrums.
Yeah.
If we bust eardrums, I think we'll be fine. I think that will change the game for us on the road. Is if we're out there and people are like, I can't concentrate. Yeah, we need the opposing team. We need Nico Iamaleava to be out there, not be able to concentrate on game 4 of the season, right? That's what we need. If we get that, I think we can make it happen. So Sooner fans, the expectation from you is show up, show out, be loud.
Yes.
Cause a problem for the opposing team trying to figure out their comms. Y'all need to get to work on that. All right. We out. Thank y'all for pulling up. Please hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. Also rate, review if you're listening. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it. Give us 5 anyway and gift it. And with that, Coop and I are out. We will chop it up with y'all, I don't know, couple of days. Probably get a video in the next day or two. I need to get y'all some recruiting videos. I've been slacking on the other channel where we talk recruits. Coop's going to be making the magic happen there too. So we'll talk soon, y'all. Hollas.